Hello, this is Zippy Duvall. I'm President of American Farm Bureau and host of the Farmside Chat, and thank you for joining us today. It's been a busy week here in Washington, and I know this won't run until May, but this has been National Ag Day this week on Monday, and had the opportunity to go to USDA, and the Secretary of Agriculture spoke, and got to speak behind him, and had a good crowd there to honor and think about all the farmers and ranchers across America. We are in the midst of writing a farm bill. So this morning I ate breakfast with the Western Caucus and had the opportunity to talk about farm bill situation and the things that our farmers and ranchers need to happen there, and also to talk about how many people that are serving in Congress today that have never worked on a farm bill. 260 of them. So we're trying to get our grassroots all excited to get those 260 people familiar with the importance of the farm bill. And then lastly, tomorrow I'll be at EPA talking to the administrator and all the registrars of crop protection products, trying to smooth out some of the problems that they have at the EPA so that we can have those crop protection products on our farm timely and be able to use them. So it's been a busy week, and I've been able to squeeze in a couple of podcasts, and I'm really delighted to have the guest I have today. Daniel and Carla Trantham. I think 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was on their farm and got to see their operation in person, and just really had a great time. So would y'all please tell us a little bit about your farm, tell the listeners about your farm, and tell us a little bit about your family, and what part of the state in Alabama are you from?
Well, we're in kind of east central Alabama, right pretty close to I-20 that runs between Birmingham and Atlanta. We're about halfway, right in the middle between Birmingham and Atlanta. We farm about 1,600 acres of row crops and cattle, corn, wheat, soybeans, and cotton. And we also raise about 250 head of mama cows with a cow-calf operation. And all the corn and most of the wheat that we produce, we process and sell right off of our farm, direct consumer. We bag it and mix different feeds with all of our corn and our wheat, and we sell to about 20 feed stores within about a 50-mile radius of us right here. So we have a good bit of grain storage on hand. We've increased that over the years. We also square bale all of our wheat straw behind our wheat crop, usually about 25,000 square bales a year, and we get all that up and we sell it to those same feed stores, and we also, our store here at the farm is open 6 days a week, so customers can come purchase directly off the farm. And we also have a trucking company. We deliver poultry, mostly poultry feed. We also haul chickens across the southeast. About 175 trucks on the road right now. Employ about 300 people in that trucking part of the farm here, between drivers and mechanics and managers and office personnel. What am I leaving out on the operation?
Well, I don't know that you're leaving anything out on the operation, really. Yeah. I run all of our payroll for all of our companies. So we're one big company, but we obviously have it split into separate entities. So I run all of our payroll across all of the companies, and then I do just some administrative duties for each of them, and then I help run the feed store, getting bag orders together, and just face-to-face customer interactions. Load a lot of feed there on the farm.
Well, they make it sound easy, but they got a lot moving around out there. And just think of the economic impact that your farm has on that community with all those employees and your store there. So I know how valuable that is to a rural community. Tell us a little bit more about the rest of the family. I know your dad was there the other day when I got to visit with you, and I think your uncle was there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the farm there where we are was, I guess you would say, was founded back in, I believe it was 1956 by my grandfather, Grady Trantham. He had seven. Him and my grandmother had seven children, and three of those kind of took the farm and really grew it, to where it is today. When my dad was the youngest of the seven, and my grandfather had about four poultry houses at the time and a few cattle, and he was also working in town at a pipe shop full time. So the kids kind of maintained the poultry and the cattle there, and then along about the early 70s, they shut down the chicken houses, and that was about the time my dad was getting out of high school, and so but they wanted to keep farming, so they planted. Him and my Uncle David, who's still with us, they planted a crop of soybeans that year and harvested it, and did it again the next year, and just never looked back. They just kept increasing in acres, and my uncle, they added on just a few trucks and hauled in the off season, and just kind of grew it from there. And then now it's all family owned still and operated. Now there's five of us all together, myself and my sister, and I've got one cousin, and then my uncle and my dad still there. And then you throw our five kids that we have in the mix, and it's we keep hopping all the time. But
Yeah, y'all stay busy now. Y'all don't have a whole lot of time to do anything else but work and take care of children.
That's
I can
right.
tell that.
that's what we love.
But that's what life's all about. That's what's wonderful about raising children on a farm. It's one of the biggest perks we have is to have our children running around us while we're out in the field working. Well, these two fine young people from Alabama wouldn't tell you because farmers are not real good about bragging on themselves. But we are talking to the winners of the National Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award winner. That they received that award at our national convention in Puerto Rico this year, and we're just so proud of y'all receiving that award. So tell us a little bit about the excitement around winning it, the effort you had to go to participate in that contest, and what it's done for you and your farm since you've won
You can go ahead with that.
Oh, I can go ahead.
it.
I made the comment the other day because somebody has asked, we get asked that question quite a bit, but I told somebody I have to watch the clip of us winning like once a week because it still just doesn't feel real. Because yes, it's great, and we have loved it and the attention that it has brought us, but at the end of the day, we just kind of got back to home and we got back to work, and life kind of just went on normal for us, except for we get to do things like this, or we the 1st of April we are opening up the Alabama House Senate that morning, because not only was this huge like for us personally, but this was the first time Alabama has ever had a winner on a national level. So we are not only celebrating personally, but the whole state is really celebrating this with us. And so, although, yes, it's amazing and it has been fantastic, it's also just kind of like, well, we got home and life just kind of went back to, people still want to get paid. So I still have to be at work and I have to run payroll. And, Daniel's still got to get corn in the ground. So I think first and foremost, and I've made this comment a lot too, like we have to give God all of the glory. He did this. This was not, obviously we filled out the application and this is our story, but God gets all of the glory for this, because I don't know that we ever in a million years would have thought, yes, we're going to go and we're going to win this. And, but we did, and so we are ecstatic for not only the platform that this gives us for agriculture, but for the platform that this gives us to get to tell people that, look, God did this. This wasn't what we might have put the work behind it, but He brought it to fruition.
Yeah, he's definitely led us to where we are today, and as far as the contest goes, we just filled out the questions. There are a lot of questions about what we do and who we are and how we do it, and we put it all down on paper, and I guess the judges liked it. And then when we did our interviews for the competition, that was just talking about ourselves, like you said, which is hard to do as a farmer because I spend most days, by myself operating equipment or out, in the pasture with cattle, and it's, don't like to necessarily talk about what you can consider accomplished through the years. It's just kind of like Carla said, it's just our life and what we do every day. But we just put all of our faith in him, and he walked us through the process. And anytime we was getting nerves about it, we just pray, hey, this is in his hands, and he's going to take us where he wants us to go, and this is where he's taking us. So we just so thankful to be here and get the opportunity to now, do things like this podcast and the media interviews and stuff like that. It's just been, it's life changing.
It is, and because this changes, our kids' lives. Our oldest has already said, I want to win that award when I grow up, and it's possible, and I think that's what we proved to ourselves, that we could do it, but we've set the stage for Alabama to say, hey, it can be done. I know Alabama doesn't get a good rap on a lot of things, but you know what? We can go up and we can compete against, people that are farming, 30 and 40,000 acres. It wasn't about the size of the operation. It was really about, I think, what you've done on your farm, the growth you've experienced, what you bring to the table.
Well, we are so proud of you, and as I told you when I was at your farm, Bonnie and I won that award in 1982, before either one of y'all were born, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And when we won the award, we weren't on the stage like y'all were, and I actually was able to go through some papers the other day, and I found some pictures that someone had taken of Bonnie and I as soon as they announced our name. And that's I don't have a video, but I have a picture of her doing herself like this and me with my mouth open because we were shocked. We didn't think there'd be any way we would ever win that award or any other award. We were just going to have a good time and meet the people, which is a great benefit of being part of that contest, is the friends you make being part of it. But the award back then, we got the free use of a tractor for a year. So what was your award?
Well, for winning that national, it was a Ford credit of $35,000. So that was.
I feel like an old baseball player, didn't get paid much. What a great incentive to have young people come out and talk about the things that they've created and done on their farm. A lot of that award is about creativity and hard work and Farm Bureau participation too. Is a big piece of it. So we appreciate y'all's participation in that. A while ago, Daniel, you mentioned spend a lot of time by yourself out on the farm in machinery. So let's talk about that part of your operation a little bit. I know that nowadays we have all kinds of new technology to use, and it helps us be more sustainable and more friendly to the environment and more friendly to the natural resources that we take care of. Tell us a little bit about the technology you use on your farm, or maybe in the trucking operation.
Well, I guess on the farming side, you kind of mentioned there conservation. A big conservation practice that we do is we farm all no-till, which means we don't ever plow the ground anymore. We harvest a crop in the fall, and then that ground just lays through the winter with that crop residue still on it, and we come in the next spring and plant right back in that residue, and that just helps with erosion control through the winter when there's a lot of heavy rainfall. It keeps the field and the soil from just washing away. All that corn stalks and bean stubble and cotton stalks is still there, and it just helps keep the soil in place as to not erode away. And a lot of technologies really come a long way equipment-wise in farming the last 20 years. Right now, I'm using a little bit of GPS technology. I've got an auto steer capable sprayer and an auto steer capable tractor that I plant with. So while I'm planting, I can or spraying, I can make my first pass and map that pass going across the field, and then that tractor will, once I turn around, it'll line me up, going across the field by itself once I just push a button, and that's just been a huge a stress saver for my day, because watching those rows when you're going across the field all day long, back and forth, that can get kind of taxing on you, especially when you've got a lot of other things on your mind, and trying to watch your equipment and make sure it's operating in the right way. It takes that little bit of stress off of me. We use,
Makes it more efficient too, right?
that's right, because no matter how good you are, how long you've been doing it, eventually you're gonna get off a little bit, or you're gonna overlap here and there, and then that's seed and that's chemicals you're wasting, and you're doubling up, or you're leaving skips, and that's making your crop look bad with weeds out there in it that could spread. So it's definitely more efficient to have that capability.
Yeah, and to go back to the no-till, for those people that are listening that are interested in climate, by not disturbing that soil, it's holding carbon in, because the crop that you'd grown on there sequestered carbon all the time it was growing, and that soil's retaining that carbon. So that's a lot of the discussions I hear each and every day in Washington. Is I have to talk about what farmers and ranchers have been doing for decades to protect the climate and do the right thing by our natural resources. I spend a lot of time right now, because we're writing a new farm bill, talking about farm bill. Can you tell us what programs you might use in the farm bill that's really been an asset to your operation?
Well, the crop insurance we use, it really offers a protection, because with the price of seed and other things that has gone up drastically, just like regular products in the store have. And when we put that seed out there and put those inputs in the ground out there, they're laying there. There's no way to get them back. So if it's a drought, or a hurricane, force winds, tornado, things like that wipe out a crop insurance is a huge help to us to at least maintain some of those inputs back, and it's not just a total loss, because if we lose the thousands of dollars a year that we put into a crop, and it's just gone and we can't harvest it, there's no way that farmers could be sustainable and try it again the next year. That just wouldn't be possible.
So crop insurance is a big piece of the safety net that it provides for agriculture, and without that, a lot of farmers, if going through some disaster like that, would not be able to continue farming next year, which would make it very difficult for us to maintain our food security and the plentiful food that we enjoy as Americans when we go to the grocery store each and every day. So, and it's an investment that farmers put into it to have that risk management too, along with the investment from the federal government to make sure that food supply is secure for our nation as we go into each and every year. So a lot of things around conservation. I use a lot of conservation programs on my farm. I know you talked about no-till, but do you participate in any of the other conservation programs?
Uh, there's a well, give me an example of one.
So equip, uh, where you may do heavy use area around heavy use areas where
Okay.
cattle are.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do use Equip. We've put in several, uh, just feeding lots, and water troughs, and those are heavy use. You get your cattle. If you might have 40 acres and you only got one spot for them to get water, they're all standing around. They're going to waller a hole in the ground, and it's just you use those programs to lay down that plastic or that fiber, and that really helps keep that soil in place and keeps them from just wallering out and just making a mess right there.
It, and it keeps any manure from running off into the creek and all that. So those programs are just very valuable to help us protect the water and soil around our farm. Yeah. So I understand too that y'all open your farm up for some tours. Can you talk to a little bit about that?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
me.
Oh, yeah.
We do,
That's me.
and actually, it's funny that you brought up the economic impact that we have on the area. We actually will host our local chamber of commerce next Thursday, which I know won't matter when this airs, but this will be the second time. They brought a leaders class out a couple of months ago, and we talked about the farm and the trucking company, and then we have a new venture that we've started, building feed trailers. And so just within our county alone, we have 3 different businesses that are operating and feeding back into our local economy. So we do host groups like that. We'll host a local Rotary group. But my passion really is the kids, and I love. We have a friend from church who she brings her local homeschool co-op, and every month they have studied something different, and so I've kind of focused on that. Like 1 month it was cotton. She did pigs, she did chickens. So we try to help her, whatever it is that she's focusing on at the moment. I try to really expand on that. But I love doing that. We've just been asked today actually to come to a local elementary school and do another farm day that we did last year with the we've moved our kids to a private school, and so it's been a great thing for me to get to really develop a program there. I've went and spoke to them about Alabama has a Ag in the Classroom Institute that we do every year for our teachers, and so that's coming up, and so I've been down there getting them ready for things like that, and we hosted their farm day. I'm trying to talk to the principal about maybe putting in some raised beds and growing some things locally there that the kids can really be hands-on with, and then it also could feed into their lunchroom, because we have less than 200 students at our private school, from preschool all the way up till seniors. So, but that is really where my passion in lies. And when Daniel and I married, I just kind of dove in. But we're blessed, and our children are blessed to see how this whole system works. But we have people, even in rural Alabama, that didn't know that cotton came from a plant. I had a lady, grown woman, at a farm day at a fall festival tell me, I had no idea that cotton grew on a plant like that. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so it's things like that remind me we have to be the ones giving our narrative. We have to be telling our story, because what's being told isn't always correct. A lot of things that people hear, and granted, now that people know who we are, I do get contacted a lot more with, hey, I heard this. Is that right? Can you tell me a little bit more about this? Our oldest has a passion for GMOs, and he has his own little board, and he has papers, and he has laminated copies of GMO plants, and he plays games with them. And so, it's amazing to see our children now kind of picking up their own torch and leading the way with their own classmates.
Yeah. But you're exactly, there's so many people in this country that's so removed from the farm now, they have absolutely no idea the extreme we go to protect the land, soil, and take care of our animals. Because, everything has a bad apple in it. And of course, we would be naive to say that there's not a few bad apples here and there, but that one or two can make us all look terrible. And we don't deserve that. We should not be judged on what one or two people might do all across the country. So we, as farmers that don't have time to open up our farms to the public, appreciate what you do, because in what you're doing, you're telling that story for us and telling it in the right way. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. So we've drawn to the end of our podcast here, and we'd just like to know if there's anything else y'all would like to say to the listeners about your whatever it might be, Farm Bureau or whatever it might be.
Well, definitely kind of playing on the public and getting our message out there. If for those of you that have questions, or you see a crop growing in a field and you might not even know what it is, or what are they doing out there with that tractor, reach out to your local farmers.
Yeah.
They want to talk to you. They definitely want to answer your questions before, someone just posts a bad comment on social media or wherever saying something negative. Before you go that route, reach out to someone who you think might know. And Farm Bureau is a great place to start there. Farm Bureau is just tons of members and mostly, a lot of farmers. And we want to talk to you and we want to explain to you what we're doing. Kind of like you said before, it comes down to time, and not everybody can just open their farm up and have the general public there. But there's those of us that are doing that, and we just want to be neighborly. We want to be good neighbors, and we're not trying to destroy the land or destroy the livestock. That's our livelihood. That's how we're feeding our families.
Well, and I think mine is kind of for members of Farm Bureau who maybe are just standing on the outside. Get involved. Our Farm Bureau family is who we lean on. I'm gonna hit real close to home. Just in this last week, we've had a member of our young farmers group pass away, and we have all leaned on each other. Get involved. These people will become your family because, unfortunately, sometimes farming can be lonely. People don't always understand why I can show up to things and why all 5 of our kids are there, but my husband's not there. Well, because my husband has to be in a tractor, or, we had a cow that was down or something happened. But these are your people that understand you. These are the people that are going to rally behind you when something happens. And it's not to say the rest of the world won't, or your families won't, or other things like that, but your Farm Bureau family understands what it is you're going through. So if you're standing on the outside and you're not sure that you want to get in there, get involved, be there, be present, show up to a meeting. I know at our meetings, we feed you real good. Like, get involved, do things.
We meet and eat really well.
Right. Sometimes I don't know if that's just because we're Southern, but.
Well, that's right. But I will tell you, you're exactly right. Farm Bureau family is second to none. And obviously, y'all know that I lost my wife 3 years ago, and I really felt the love and prayers of millions of people across this country just because of the Farm Bureau family. And I don't know where I would have been without that. So I would agree. We need people to be involved. We need all ages, all cultures, all size farms, and regardless of how you do it, we need your voice to be part of our Farm Bureau family. So thank you for opening that up, because that's a great way to end this up. So Daniel and Carla Trantham, we are just proud of y'all for winning the Young Farmer Award this last year, and we look forward to many more years of y'all serving agriculture through Farm Bureau, and look forward to seeing you at another meeting down the road. And beware, I was sitting there, how many years ago? 1981, and ended up here. So you might never know where this leads.
You're right.
So thank you so much for joining me, and God bless you. I hope you and your family have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank everyone else for listening to us. And we hope you're having a great day and continue to have a good day. And we say God bless you to you. And we'll see you next time on the Farmside Chat. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Farmside Chat. Please be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And while you're at it, take a minute to rate and review the podcast. This helps us continue to bring you farm fresh content that everyone can enjoy. Until next time, thank you and God bless you.